What is up, people of the internet? It is Dave, it's Duncan, back from Metal Epidemic for another album review. For this review, Duncan and I have been checking out the new release from Chicago hardcore punks, Stress Position.
Oh, I just blew in from the windy city, mighty pretty, but they ain't got what we've got. Chicago, windy
That
city.
started off very Scottish and then went American towards the end.
I mean, that's how everything I do starts off very Scottish and ends up very American by the end. Just blown in from the windy city. I've just come in from the Isle of Skye. That's where it went first, and then I had to take it and bin it.
Yep.
Catch it, bin it, kill it. I can't remember what the COVID man, honestly.
So,
anyway.
New album from Stress Positions.
This might seem like chaotic as an intro, but against this album, you ain't seen shit.
Not really.
You ain't seen fucking shit.
Harsh Reality, the new album will be released on December 8th versus via 31G Records.
Yeah, Harsh Reality is the nickname for my premature ejaculation. So I've been basically what I call it to the wife. This is the harsh reality. Sorry, you'll just have to finish your settle hen. Right. Just want to stress I'm a kind, caring, and compassionate lover. I have no problems with premature ejaculation, which sounds like I'm kind of fighting against something, but I haven't.
Okay.
Not an issue.
I'll take your word for it.
How did we get onto this?
I don't know.
Harsh reality, Dave. Stress positions.
Stress Positions.
Sorry. They're coming at me now. Quick, go,
It's
Dave.
made up of 3 members from the now defunct C.H.E.W. C.H.E.W. Drummer Jonathan, guitarist Benjamin, and bassist Russell, with new vocalist Stephanie Brooks. The band formed in 2020, with most of the songs either finished or conceived during the early stages of the pandemic, a time when everything was amplified, a constant reminder that this is how things are. Subject matter varies from poverty and the firm grip capitalism has on our lives to the personal conflicts and police brutality, particularly in the band's home city of Chicago. Following last year's Walang Haya EP, which was
Just gonna tell me that again, Dave.
Walang Haya,
Hiya.
which was reissued by Iron Lung Records. Stress Positions are set to release Harsh Reality, their full-length debut, on December 8th on 31G. Recorded once again with Seth Engel, who has worked with Floaty, Options, and Shell of a Shell. Mixed by Matt Russell, who's worked with Big Laugh, Oozing Wound, and Resin. And then mastered by James Plotkin, who's worked with Botch, Voivod, and Caven.
Dude's busy.
Hell yeah. This is Jungle D beats for clapping cheeks. Expect the unexpected in the kingdom of madness.
My sexual references are now vindicated with that comment.
That's what it says, Duncan. So, 2023, Duncan, has been quite the year when it comes to punk and hardcore.
And everything else, Dave. Well, let's not like this year is like my top 20 just now is honestly it's a fucking smorgasbord of pretty much every genre of metal. It's unreal. I don't think I've had as a diverse genre top 20 thus far than I am right now. So yeah, like every band is competing with arguably some of the best work in that genre this year. So
for sure. As a hardcore fan, I have been mighty excited this year. We've already talked about a load of them this year, bands like Blood Command and Capra and Filth is Eternal. But really that is just the tip of the iceberg. Like, we've had releases from fucking loads of cool bands this year. Gel, Buggin, Zulu, Eyes, Drain, and the list goes on and on.
For a second, I thought you were stalling because you'd forgotten, you'd went completely blank, and we wouldn't be. Just loads of things that take too long on a video to mention. So instead, we'll just glide on. But then you hit like 6, Dave. That was just off the cuff.
That's what I do, Duncan. That's what I do.
What he does.
As a hardcore fan myself, I've loved every second of it, Duncan. Not gonna lie. And it makes me really happy that up until right till the last month of the year.
This is the Indiana Jones grabbing his hat before the stone door comes down of albums. It's like, just like, fucking get in here.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. We're still getting quality hardcore albums this late in the year. This time in the form of a 9-track, almost 18-minute release.
Let's round it up. Let's be kind. 18 minutes.
From Stress Positions. Not gonna lie, Duncan, this is the kind of shit that gets me excited.
Yeah.
Very excited. This is hardcore punk that is just fully charged musically and vocally. And as I mentioned in the press release, lyrical content is covering some pretty important topics, and by fuck do they deliver them with an absolute roundhouse kick to the face on this album.
This is Chung Lee's like 1,000-foot kick or whatever it was. You just had to rattle the fucking button, but you're stuck in the corner. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah, bastard. Just like, fucking like that. It has one speed, and that speed is go.
Yeah. I had blisters for that shit back in the day, Duncan. Fucking.
You were doing it wrong.
Well, it depends on your controller, what you had back then. Sometimes you had to rattle the buttons really fast.
That's how you break the buttons.
Yeah, I mean, I went through a few controllers, I'm not going to lie, but I was fast though.
Not my watch.
I love hardcore like this. This is like 18 minutes of just authentic, pissed off, straight to the point, hardcore punk.
Right. You say 18 minutes.
I'm rounding up.
Take 5.5 off the closing track. Right.
Yeah,
It's 12.5 minutes. 12.5 minutes for 8 songs, which is a fucking album that I will listen to many times.
Yeah, the tracks on this do not linger on anything for too long. They are over, in most cases, less than 2 minutes on this album.
Yeah. I think the longest, I'm just looking at the list here, the longest track out with the 5.5 minute opus that closes this is the opening track at 2 minutes and 10 seconds. There's only one other track that goes over 2 minutes.
Yeah.
It's a handful of tracks that go over 1.5 minutes, and then a handful of tracks that go about 1 minute, and then the shortest track is 26 seconds.
Yeah.
So I mean, to the point.
To the point. They go hard for the entire track. Like it's.
Yeah.
So many things impressed me about this. One, I couldn't stop just grinning when I was listening to the drummer. I was just like, this guy is a fucking machine. Like, just...
Is it track 3 where I actually physically think there's like literally no space between the snare drum hits?
I was going to say that. I was actually going to say that. There's a bit where he does a roll that sounds like one note. It's like there's no space.
Honestly, I must have replayed, like when we hear something and you, like, my brain didn't register, so you rewind it back and you hear it again, you're like, no, there must be something playing underneath it. So you do it again and you're like, no, he's like, the speed is fucking insane.
It's like he's gravity blasting around the kit. It's just like how's that even possible?
That cunt that does all those gravity blasts and things that shouldn't happen. That's him. It's honestly
amazing. As a drummer, I was just like sitting there like, this guy's fucking insane, man. But in the best possible way. Guitar wise, really cool as well. This is like kind of very much like the old school kind of punk style. It's partly quite traditional stylistically, and that kind of like Black Flag, GBH. That kind of Dropdead type punk, but it's kind of spliced with a very like modern, chaotic delivery, which kind of brings it up to date. It makes it sound more current. It's for as fast and as chaotic as it is, it's incredibly tight. Like for the speed these guys are playing at, they don't miss a beat. Absolutely none. And
well, the production's recorded in such a way that it would be evident if they did.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I mean? Because it's clear. Everything is very, very, very clear on this one.
Yeah.
In the past, bands could get away with a lot of not being able to play it in time because the production wasn't great.
Yeah.
Kind of hide it. Oh, back on the beat. There we go. Back on the beat. Back on the
Yeah.
beat.
No
So,
one knows. But even though this is like just intense and fast as fuck, there's a lot actually going on musically to kind of like pick out and keep you interested. The switch ups on this are great. Like this it constantly moves between these really like savage kind of punk kind of blasts, but it's also kind of like merged with these like mid-paced grooves, just to give you that kind of like second to catch, and it literally is a second to catch your breath. But they're very clever with it. They're just going to bring it in and then they'll pull it back out again, just to give you that segment of kind of metronomic kind of mid-paced groove, and then adding like a track like No Sympathy in that kind of middle space or spot of the album. Great idea, just to give that kind of moment of reset on the album as well. It's kind of mid-paced for the whole track, so it almost feels like you're getting that kind of moment of respite, but then they just dive right into Flaming Sword and it's back to just running at full tilt after that.
Yeah, but that's the beauty of doing that. Like, Flaming Sword has, for lack of a better description, the only burst of proper melody in this one. It has a proper punk chorus, which like vocally, she's not necessarily singing notes per se, but it kicks into like a good old fashioned thrash, kind of thrashy, punky, melodic section. Which the rest of the album does not fucking have. And it comes out of fucking nowhere, and they don't linger on it, and they play it maybe twice, and then they're like, we have done that now. It's the Greek restaurant plate that you've eaten on, smashed on the floor. Next. Fucking do this.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, vocally is where this album is just, it's sublime. Like, I was just kind of in awe of Stephanie's vocals on this. There's so much passion and raw energy on this album. Her tone is so intense. Like, just every track is this huge dose of ferocity from start to finish. But as you said, you get that little kind of moment of kind of something
She's
different.
Tonal. She can do tonal stuff, but she doesn't do it often, which is fucking genius. It's absolutely genius, because when it hits you, you go, oh, it really does floor you. And she doesn't stick with it long, and then she switches back, and you're like, fuck it, but that's all we're getting. So well done, man. It is so well done.
Very clever. And then obviously that last track, the album closer,
fucking stoner is what that is, Steve.
Ode to Aphrodite. As you said, that's the longest track in the album at 5.5 minutes, and it's like a bit of a kind of slow builder compared to the rest of the album, because it starts off with kind of like clean guitars and this clean, almost kind of like
King Woman was in a hardcore punk band.
Yeah, well, I was getting it's kind of like clean, almost kind of spoken word vocals. I was getting a kind of like King Woman, but with like a Tari B, like manhole kind of type vibe.
Yes.
It's so cool. Like I really, that track is a really good addition to the album. I love how they kind of incorporated a more kind of like melancholic kind of tone into their sound, using the kind of clean guitars.
They slow everything right down as well, which is the first track where you're like, you physically fucking breathe.
It closes the album perfectly. It's a great closing track, and I know they're all about that intensity and just delivering the message with as much power and ferocity as possible. But I love that little bit of variety and tone and texture where the sound just kind of opened up even more. I also love the fact that it doesn't sound like an album that we've been like, well, we've all went into the studio and we've all recorded our parts separately. And then someone's produced it and put it all together. It doesn't sound like that at all. This sounds like let's get in a room, let's get everything mic'd, and let's just fucking record this as a band. We'll capture that live energy and that aggression. And it does have like a kind of analogy kind of like texture to it, but it's also really well recorded and well produced. Everything sounds really clear as well. And I think the production of this suits the band down to the ground. There's nothing worse where a hardcore punk band have went and recorded an album and like the kind of shiny, digitally polished production just removes all that character from the band. This still has all the character and all their kind of personality fully intact in this production. I love the sound and the sound and the kind of the tone of this album. I think it's really well done. Yeah, this might not be overly long, but there's still a ton of shit to enjoy in this. I loved the intensity of it. I think this band would be insanely cool to see live. Obviously, they're going to need some more material. 18 minutes is quite a short set.
Fuck it. Do they? But I'd much rather a band come on stage and give me their best 18 minutes than a kind of haphazard, lackluster 40.
Listen, your wife was wishing you'd give her 18 minutes with your fucking...
Hashtag harsh reality, dude.
Harsh reality.
Hashtag stress positions, which is the position, page 43 in the Kama Sutra, that will make you shoot quick. So don't do it. Don't do it.
Yeah, great album. Executed brilliantly, and a band that are now firmly on my radar. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed this. What about you? What was your final thoughts on this one?
It's fucking great, man. It's absolutely great. It reminded me of, like, way back in the day when we were doing this the first time round, back on the original website.
Oh, yeah.
There was a band that came to our attention who were like, I think they were from New Orleans. They were called Pears.
Oh, yeah.
And they literally, like, I think they'd formed like 8 months before, literally got in a studio, recorded the fucking album, and then put it out. And we listened to it, and it was fast as fuck. It just felt urgent and vibrant and now. Just want to stress, they don't sound anything like this, right? They were on the kind of happier side of punk.
Yeah.
But the same sort of ethos is here of just some, like a band that just sounds like they're clawing for every second of everything they can get. And that urgency and vibrancy is through every single track here. This is awesome, man. And like, not only is it produced like perfectly for their sound, but at every single point in every single track, I felt myself just like fucking like deer in the headlights. Just what the fuck? It's just so intense and so fast. Vocally, this is chef's kiss.
Yeah.
This might be up there amongst some of my favourite kind of hardcore punk vocals I've heard this year. Kind of gender be damned. I think these guys would sit, you know what I'm going to say, these guys should tour with Filth is Eternal. That right there is I don't know who you thought I was going, that's who they should tour with, Filth is Eternal. Because they're at the moment, they've went through a lot of this stage now, and they're on a kind of, they're charting a bigger trajectory, but they could easily, you know, they've got songs that definitely cross into this kind of range as well from the kind of first album. That there's crossover there as well. Plus they're getting a bit of buzz of it and it'll be really good. But it reminded me that like we're in a golden age just now of hardcore punk where the stuff is so ferocious, it's so authentic, it's calling back to its roots. It's not trying to do anything too fancy. It's not trying to fuck with the formula too much. But what you're getting, and what I love even more about it is we're getting these super powerful female vocals at the front from a genre that was not known for female-fronted bands. It was usually angsty white guys, like moaning about stuff. It's now like angsty female vocalists moaning about stuff, which I kind of love. Like it's like that has been passed on. Her vocal tone sits in a register that guys would love to be able to do. It's at that savage point of almost breaking, but it never breaks. She's you mentioned Tari B earlier on. I was also thinking about the chick from OTEP, who's kind of like Tari B adjacent. Like she had a ferocity in her higher register, which is very reminiscent of this. Ode to Aphrodite, I would love more of this. So if they're going back in to do something next after this, before they come on tour apparently, because that's the only way Dave will see you. I would love to see them experiment more with that. Like a track somewhere in the middle of an album which slows things down and gets a little bit weirder. Maybe not even vocally for involvement, maybe just instrumental. And then something like this at the end. I loved it. It showed a completely different side of the band. It showed also a very, very good grasp of layer, texture and atmosphere, which the rest of the album doesn't really have because it's punching you in the face. Is it like this album is 8 songs of you being pinned down and punched in the face, and track 9 is the person picking you up, straightening your clothes, and giving you a Christmas card. You know what I mean? Is that way where it is in different keeping, but it finishes with the same savage intensity on a much slower range that the rest of the album gave you. So it builds into that. Yeah. These guys are one to watch, man. Honestly, this is one of these ones where it's hard to stress how exciting it is. It's also hard to stress how fucking savage it is. Like, this is blinking you miss it material. There are a couple of tracks here that if you get distracted by, oh, there's a penny, or you're like, or there's someone's at the door, like that, you'll miss like 3 songs in this album, and you miss what they're doing, and it's all done to such a high level. And the last thing I'll say, and I'll kind of link back into a point you made, it has that live room intensity that bands beg for. Even live, like bands that you hear that I've recorded in a live room, you can't always really tell. This one, it's there. It's in every single second. Welcome to the party, Stress Positions. Super curious to see what you do next, and cannot fucking wait to see you live. So don't see if you come to the UK. Just visit Scotland. Right? Like your PR company, your management's going to say England, and I'm just going to say to you, why bother? Just come to Scotland. That's all we need. Yeah, this is fucking bitching, man.
Yeah. Okay, so scores for the new Stress Positions album. I'm coming in quite high, and I feel like a band would usually kind of build their way up to a score like this after 2 or 3 albums. I feel like, they'd start at a 3.5 and then they work their way up. I'm coming right in at 4.5 here on a debut album, but I think they are that good, and I think they have potential to do a 5-star easily in the next release. I'd like to hear even more of that sound. As you said, like that last track showed that there's more in the tank that they can do. And I'd like to hear them kind of push that even further on the next one. The intensity is there though. Like for hardcore punk, it is as intense as it gets. Insanely good. Great vocals, great production. Thoroughly enjoyed it. Another stellar hardcore album in 2023. So it's a 4.5 for me. Duncan, what are you thinking?
We spent all night recording reviews and agreeing with each other, and this is no exception. 4.5. This is absolutely slamming.
Yeah.
Love it. I think it is so strong and so self-assured for a debut. It's actually kind of scary. Imagine what they sound like when they've got a couple of tours under their belt and more life experience to ram in the material. It's going to be fucking insane. I don't think they're far from a 5-star album at all.
Awesome. Stress Positions, Harsh Reality, out on December 8th on 31G Records. Links below to the band, the pre-order. Check it out, have a listen, see what you think, let us know. That is a review. Thanks for checking it out. We'll be back with another review very soon, but until then, take care. Speak to you soon.
Bye, everyone. Did I get confetti? Did I get anything? I get nothing this time, Dave. Fuck you, internet.